Yo, K-Pop Soul, what's good? I am abundant, and I'm just gonna go right into it. It's gonna be some big ones. So, I had the biggest brain blast this morning while I was getting ready to head to this brunch. And that's, we live in a sick old 666 society, and actually gotta use the explicit wording for it, the like what it really is. We live in like this type of hybrid, sick, pedophilic, like hypersexualized, inverted sense of like everything trauma-based society, and we gotta call it for what it is so that we can fix ourselves, because the state of the world, I'm not gonna go into the state of the world, but the state of the world is bad. Little Nas X, just the pregnancy thing, and then every advertisement, like all these advertisers started doing, boys pregnant, no, not a zip. But let me tell you, this is like a sick old society. We've all of us, I'm just talking about American society. All of us have been programmed to be in pedophile based relationships for those that are, let's make an astrology reference, for those that are low functioning. And I feel like we can say there's a lot more in the world that are low functioning than could be considered high functioning. So, but yeah, everyone caught up in the low functioning side, it's a sick society based on twisted morals and stuff, man. And I realized this because I've been trying to break down this whole, like, what's going on with the relationship dynamic between, personally for me, black men and women, because I don't really give a fuck about the other races. I'm not the other races. I don't care. It's like, you deal with it how you want, but theirs is further ahead than ours in certain ways. But I was breaking it down, and as I just, and this wasn't like an overnight thing. I've been thinking about this like for a minute now, cause like all this Kevin Samuels type stuff blowing up, and like all the people talking about the topic in general, I was just thinking, like, what is the end game of this, and is it healthy? And as I've been like pondering on that for a while, I just started getting like, oh shit, like just started connecting dots. And this whole thing is just training us and conditioning us to be like in these pedophilic, these aren't high vibrational relationships that we be in general. We don't do high vibrational things. And it's because the whole idea and concept of this relationship stuff is completely off. And you don't really see it until you start detoxing from life. Until you start detoxing from all this BS. Like, we're not supposed to be in like all these hypersexual relationships. Honestly, to keep it a buck, we're not supposed to be having having, you know, the whole, and my fault for stopping and going, but you know the whole sex is for making babies. Yeah. It's for making babies. And the whole society has been conditioned to think the opposite, because they've been attacking our children for generations, and our children's been growing up accepting more and more bullshit and raising their kids to accept more and more bullshit, because we've been getting attacked this whole time and we didn't know. You feel me? It's kind of like the best type of analogy I could think of. It's kind of like how you could, like how like the whole sex trafficking thing could be going on, and how women themselves could be involved in it in certain ways. Some of them just been in the game so long, it's all they know. They really like been so into it that they really, there's nothing you could do. They think it's right. There's no concept of anything else for them because of all the shit. And maybe that's their way of dealing with like all the stuff that they went through to be into that level of condition. You feel me? And those are just for those particular examples. I ain't making an excuse for anybody that's doing things by choice, free will, and maliciously. If you're doing that, hey, look, your karma gonna get. I'm a strong believer that if you can't get to a point in your life at a certain time where you're like living generally morally righteously for yourself and like trying to just overall just have the world be a better place, man, some of y'all gotta go. Because so many of us that have, because when you don't try to make the world a better place, you're like silently complying with like everything that's going on. Like, well, it's not happening to me, so I don't have to care about it. I got my own things to worry about. Maybe your own things that you're worrying about are connected to things you aren't caring about. Maybe the people that we feel we don't have to care about are directly in some way karmically related to the problems that we're having in our life. But that's another discussion for another day and a different deep topic in and of itself. But I want to stay on this sicko world that we're living in, because I listened to the Drake album, and I'm not going to talk about it for too long because that's not what this video is about. But if you have looked into certain topics on any level, you see that there are signs that certain agendas are being pushed that are directly related to what I was just talking about maybe a minute or two ago. Certain symbols being shown. The way if you flip like, and like industry and stuff, I'm not going to talk about this for too long, but that whole industry is so good with wordplay, so good. They're the best. They're tied with the best rappers and word players because they're tied with the people that made this language to begin with. So when you see a title like Certified Lover Boy, you got to do things like flip words around. Like just flip one word around, and what does that make it? Certified Boy Lover. But then if you attack that, that's not even what the thing really be on. Do one more flip. It's actually Certified Girl Lover, and you connect symbolism. I'ma mess your brain up. Look up certain symbolisms, and I'ma just say, when you see the symbolisms, how we've been programmed and not even knowing to accept the stuff, Powerpuff Girls. I'll leave it at that. So, going in talking about this subject, we have all been conditioned because morally we not living right. Spiritually we not living right. And I'm not talking from a religious standpoint. I'm talking from a universal law standpoint. You feel me? Like karma standpoint. We do things we know we're not supposed to be doing every single day. And by doing that, it's compelling people to get away with things, whether we are aware of it or not. And going back to how we have all been conditioned to be pedophiles and very young tricks, or all us low-functioning ones have been conditioned to be pedophiles and low-functioning tricks, is because when you study psychology and stuff, age is more, on one level it's biological. You know, a 1-year-olds, a 1-year-olds, a 2-year-olds, a 2-year-olds, and so on and so forth. But when you start going into psychology and experiences and stuff, there's also like a mental age. And when you start looking into traumas, and when you start looking into how things go on in our lives and how we are affected by them, or how we are consciously or unconsciously affected by them, there's a thing where you're stuck at whatever, like, if you don't grow, if you're not able to ever grow from it or get past it, you're stuck at the age of your biggest trauma that you didn't get past. And to keep it a buck, the elephant in the room is that a lot of us walking around here as 12-year-old, 30-year-olds, you feel me? 14-year-old, 30-year-olds. It really goes deep. And they trying to and all of this has to do with not being accountable for our own stuff, man. Like, after a certain while, it's like this. If life is a game, our childhood years is the tutorial. We don't have control over it. We just experience it, learn what we got to learn from it, and then we take control of the reins at a certain age. Some tutorials are shorter. Some people have no tutorial at all. So that game of it's on you begins sooner, whether you're aware of it or not. You feel me? So going into that, say you living your life and something happens to you, something traumatic happens to you at 12 years old, but there was not like a loving, positive reinforcement to that. And you respond negatively to that, and you have negative responses to that shut you off from the creative side of your mind, the growth side of your mind, so you're still so you go through that traumatic experience at age 12, and time goes on, you're still going through that. You're 13, but mentally you're still 12 because you've had no support system to get over it. You've had no one to help you. So time goes on, you're 13 years old, but mentally you still 12. Time goes on, you're 14. Time goes on, you're 15. But you're still 12 because you haven't had any level, or at that point, there's been no avenue for you to begin to figure out how you need to process and get through it. You don't find someone that you could trust to get through it. You don't have the tools to find the person you could trust to get through it, because the people that you were supposed to trust either consciously or unconsciously failed you. So because they consciously or unconsciously failed you, you aren't even consciously aware that you got something that you need to learn from. But unconsciously, you are hyper aware of it because it manifests through the negative feelings that you have. It manifests through the trauma that you're going through. The demons that are developing through there. But those demons are not your enemies. Those demons are the entity that develop in a way to help you in your way to try to help you get through that. But the point of your life is you're supposed to address that demon, and you find out in ways that either that demon got to go, or that demon actually turns out to be a friend for you and helps you in positive ways in your life if you work with it. And that's kind of like a little thing that they was getting into with Naruto and the caged beast on a level. And it might not be one-to-one correct, but don't compartmentalize that and let the point get off subject. So you're 14, 15, 16, traumatized. That traumatic event happened. You still 12 years old mentally because you ain't grown. But you found toxic ways to deal with it, and you still had experiences. So yes, you were older, but you haven't gotten any wiser, because all of your experiences are compounded upon tragedy and toxicity. So basically you building a house on a quicksand foundation. You building a house on a terrible foundation, We don't know. So a lot of us have been walking around here as physically we're in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, but mentally, emotionally, or let's go emotionally and spiritually, because some of us will completely cut off our spiritual side and just go completely intellectual, but we'll still be, when it comes to and it comes out in our not being able to have relationships, we're still the little kid that got abused, traumatized mentally, wasn't able to wasn't able to handle it, absorb it, wasn't able to digest it. Can't compute what's going on. Anyways, you go through that, and if you're not accountable to yourself at some point, if you don't try to be your best self, you'll never ever be able to get over that trauma and begin to age mentally, spiritually that way, the way that you were cut off dealing with a trauma. Because no matter what, when you go through something, you gotta address it in your life. You gotta address it. Whatever you went through, you gotta address it. That's the reason why your feeling won't go away. You gotta address it, but you gotta address it in a positive way for yourself. And you gotta address it in a way that's gonna help you move on. And you gotta be open for yourself. This is for you. So anyways, when we don't do that and we stay in our low functional self, that's when we start getting in. We don't learn. We because we go through a trauma, we're unaware of any. We're living in a trauma life and not a learning, betterment life. So we living all off the path we initially supposed to be on, because it's like when one thing's going wrong and it's not addressed, it messes up everything else. And it turns out that was the root of all the problems. It's like that. We gotta just go with whatever got you stuck at that age. You gotta address it. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because when you look at the world today, when you look at the world in the way it's going, it's so tragic, man. These girls is little hoes. The dudes are hoes too, but the good ones is whatever. Good. So the good girls and guys not gonna be able to find each other because there's so many. They don't realize that they're walking in a whole society of traumatized children. The thing about once they touch, they taint it on a level not on no fucked up shit. I'm gonna talk about spiritually and talk about from experience. A lot of that, it's true. Once you fucked up because you got the experience. That's why you fucked up, right? So, but we gotta address that within ourselves and stop and not dead a conversation because it's too hard. There's no such thing. Eventually, you gotta get through it. Eventually, you gotta have the conversation for yourself. The hard parts, all the things you don't want to go into, don't want to talk about, you got to, because by not, it's manifesting through your behavior in other ways. And what I'm realizing, because we don't have no discipline, because we don't abstain from stuff, because we don't and we've been conditioned for this. We have been conditioned by the society for this, because the one is in charge, the ones that have control of what we can perceive through certain black mirrors, they do not have your best interest at heart on any level. some do, but it's kind of like the police. Yeah, there might be some good police, but if the overall concept of them existing was the descendants of slave patrol, then it's not right, and it shouldn't exist. And I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. That might be another video for another day. But just with that train of thinking, if the foundation was not for you, then nothing that comes as a condition of that is going to be for you. But if you're not aware of that, because mentally you're a child, you're naive, and you don't know what's going on, you fall victim to everything until you become accountable. Oh shit, alright, what's going on? Whoa, damn, I don't want to experience this again. You feel me? Because whether we crying, whether we hurt, the experience still happened, and we still got to learn from it. And we got to, and the point, and all this stuff that's got us messed up in this sick pedophilic society and all the stuff I was going into earlier is because it's all connected. We don't have, as a majority, we don't have good full household parenting. Damn near, it's more normal to hear like single family households in the black community than full together households. It's more normal to see they trying to make co-parenting no co-parent. No, y'all get back together, because sex is not for you. Sex is to make babies. That ties into all the what semen retention is. The whole, like, why you gain, as a man, you gain superpowers from holding your seed, and why as a woman you have more value to you the less bodies you got. Yes, to real niggas, yes, the less bodies you got, it counts. And real niggas gonna ask, hey, what's your history like? Why? Because not only is it about the dicks you was taking, it's about the relationships you was having with those dicks, and you respond differently. You had a response to each one, and that's each layer of trauma we'll have to deal with when we're with you. Feel me? And this is talking from a guy. Feel me? I got my own, like, I have my own problems. I still got things that I'm working on, but overall, this is coming from a dude that's like, I've addressed my problems. I work every day on, like, finding what I need to work on about myself. You know what I mean? Like, but I've learned that no, men and women, like, for low functioning, we don't want to be accountable. And we're so unaccountable that it's allowed this pedophilic ass society to fucking form around us and take us over slowly like some parasitic virus. You know how you see, like, on the horror movies, the alien movies, it's like slowly sucking the life force out of them. Like, slowly sucking the life force out of them. But they don't know it's taking the life force out of them until it's too late. That's us as black, whatever we are, melanated, or whatever we are, us folk with rhythm, that's our problem. We not accountable on any level. Us low functioning ones, we're not accountable, and that is how bad things permeate. That's how, like, children get touched, and, like, that's how all these society, like, this sick ass society is allowed to slowly form around us. None of this shit should be okay that we seeing, but everybody, because you was touched too, everybody's too, or not touched, but you was traumatized and you a child spiritually, emotionally, everybody is complying with everything. Nigga, when you get over your demons, you ain't got no more fear, because fear ain't real. False evidence appearing real. So these pedophiles is fucking our children, killing them, eating them and stuff, just making them disappear. And it's because we're so undisciplined and conditioned to be so, and bad things happen to us and all that. But look, at least for our men, look, we know it don't matter. Nothing matters. don't nothing matter. Except you got to get on your shit. The world don't care. So, the world don't care. Nothing matters. And we ain't got no discipline. We ain't got no standards. All we want to do is fuck when we only supposed to be fucking to make babies. Because our sperm got all our life energy in it. Look up that Simpsons episode, or just look up semen retention, The Simpsons. That shit real, bro. That's why we ain't thinking. That's why we ain't got no discipline. Because, hey, keep it real, dude. We know. Like, as angelic as these women could be, they'll walk you off a bridge because you let them and you didn't tell them no. And they'll be like, oh, my bad, with no accountability. So it's a domino effect. We ain't having our standards, and we just trying to get with a bad one. We don't have any standards or none of that. So they think it's okay to continue to do so. So they make all the good girls think it's okay to do so, to compete to get us. So now all these girls got infinite bodies. Got, not all, low functioning. Got infinite bodies. Got infinite karma and trauma and BS they dealing with that. We ain't dealt with our stuff. So us low functioning is mentally middle schoolers. And the pedophilic relationship thing is creating to a point where it's starting to condition good dudes to just want mentally young women. And mentally young women don't realize that they're victims, because mentally young women grow up, have children, still mentally young, don't realize they're victims and they're not doing the right thing, and then they die alone. Because the whole time, the wrong things are associated. Sex and love and all that. No, sex is to make babies. And you're supposed to be your best self, to find the person so that you know who's best for you. So that when you raising this family, y'all can stick together. But because we ain't got no connection with ourselves at all, we walking around just little kids. The men are forced to grow up, and then they take advantage of little girls. Little 12-year-old, 30-year-old women. And then some girls, they grow up because they got a kid, or they grow up because they get old and they're getting older and their clock go off, and they don't realize that they've been victims this whole time. Because as someone who is a victim of child molestation, I didn't go to public school from 1st to 6th grade, so I was not exposed to a lot of things people was exposed to. So I kept my innocence a lot longer. When you get touched as a child and you really innocent, you don't even know you got touched a lot of the times for dummy long, until you start trying to do stuff yourself and you start associating things in your brain. So that's why some people, they really don't know when they don't even realize they got touched till years later. Because the person who was older mentally took advantage of them. But we don't talk about it because it's hard to talk about these things. But we got to talk about these things so we can get to the root and start taking these sickos out. Because that's what this is all about. That's who's in charge. People that want us to stay in that mindset, because those are the people that's doing that type of stuff. And I'm reaching 30 minutes, so I'm going to end this, but I'm going to end with some quick examples from my rhythm folk. Tell me how we ain't been conditioned. I wanna be down. I wanna be down with you. You feel me? Age ain't nothing but a number. Sunshine ain't nothing but a damn. Let me love you down. And I could do what God say. We've been conditioned. And until we are able to pull that strength within ourselves that we all have to start the processes to figure out what we need to do to get through it and evolve, our babies gonna continue to be victims. Everybody gonna continue to be victims. They gonna continue to take advantage of us like this, and we ain't gonna have the awareness to fight back. So this is my video in the beginning to try to fight back. You feel me? So yeah, Cashapp. You feel me? If this hit, Cashapp. I'm abundance. I need Visa of abundance. Like, comment, subscribe. If this pop on any level, I'll make more videos. My Cashapp is itsnotterrell. It's not Terrell. Terrell. Okay? I need some, if it hit, I need some abundance, you feel me? So, and I'll disclose whatever I know. I'll continue to, but this one, it needed, I'm trying to put it out there because change needs to happen. And Michael Jackson said, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. So, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I love y'all. I am abundance. I'm out. I mean, y'all be cool, smooth, grow. Because the world is only a bad place because that's the perspective that we hold, and we can make heaven wherever we standing at. Know that. So let's start that inner work. Abundance, spread it. Feel me? I love y'all. Peace.